Andrew Wood is one of the good guys, one of the great guys who works over there. In fact, I'd say the pride of North Wilmington. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Andrew Wood working in the...
Hey, Rick, thanks for having me here.
How you doing, buddy? I always like to start off with a smile. Working there in the Middletown office. What's your tip for today?
Sure. So I came across actually a pretty startling article yesterday from the Wall Street Journal. And it kind of highlights what's been going on with, we'll just say the overall, recent economy. You're probably, hearing about this K-shaped economy where some people are doing well and the people that are not doing well are struggling, right? So the article that I came across is saying that there's actually a record number of workers that are rating their 401k savings prematurely.
No. Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and it just has to deal with, inflation, whether it's job opportunities too, but inflation has obviously had a huge impact on people over the last, number of years. But obviously, we're sacrificing the future for today, to pay for today.
Absolutely. I actually said this to Dan because, Dan's call screener is a younger guy. He's a professional trumpet player in a number of bands, and he's a great guy. And I said to him what somebody once said to me when I was younger, and that is, if you don't start putting away for your retirement, old Rick is going to hate young Rick. Of course, I said, old Dan is going to hate young Dan. And you're going to hate yourself for it. Now, if you start pulling money out, I mean, okay, everybody's different. My model is to get a second job, to try to get some additional income, things like that. Maybe that's not enough for people. Maybe they can't do that for some reason. But that's just my advice and the way that I try to do things, as opposed to pulling money out of 401k's. And this has been going on really since 2020 and 2021 especially. So we're looking at like last 5-6 years that this has been going on. Did they have any idea of how much money is leaving 401k's? Did they get a chance to get into that piece of data?
No, well, it's hard, I think, because so many people are still contributing.
Yeah.
At the same time, so I think it's hard to kind of come up with that data. Now, what I will tell you is that there's a couple different things that I would always look at, especially for someone who they may even be younger or getting older and closer to retirement. And I think some of the people that fall into this trap later on in retirement, they didn't save early, as you'd mentioned. So they're late in the game and they feel like they got to maximize their 401k's and put as much money in there as possible. Sometimes we see people putting in so much in their 401k to again, try to make up for some of those lost years. And next thing you know, they're running up their credit cards and, they're getting debt. So,
yeah.
Not to say that you should stop making your contributions, but, if you're going to prioritize things, just make sure if the company's giving you a match, take advantage of the match if you can. But if you need to, cut back a little bit, I understand that. I certainly don't want to see anyone go into debt just to try to build that nest egg up, because at some point that's going to have to get paid. The other thing is, I would always recommend for basically anyone that's out there, if it's possible, so you're not in this type of situation, you're building up 3 to 6 months of really an emergency fund, whether, again, it's the debt, something that comes up, maybe you lose a job or something like that, just so you have something to fall back on. But one of the things that I'll tell you, and this actually, it hits home because, I do this pretty often, and it's just a small action item that people can do. But I would always recommend people try to review your last month's spending.
There you go.
If possible.
Yeah. If not doing a budget, and a budget is so important. I bet very few people ever do a budget anymore. And I haven't done that for a couple of years, but I have done it, especially around tax time. Around tax time, look at some of your itemizations. I know very few people itemize anymore, but try to do that and figure out, what am I spending every month? I find out that we spend a lot of money going out to eat. A lot. Hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Yeah. And we can cut back on that and save a lot of money. So you'll find things that you're doing that maybe you don't have to do, and you can save a lot of money that way.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing that I feel like I randomly see a charge, and it's a subscription that, for something, maybe an app or something that I may have purchased. I mean, there's a few apps that I used to like for different reasons, and I don't use them anymore. And it's a $5-6 charge a month or something like that. And
you get 10 of those. Yeah, you get 10 of those. It's $50 a month, man.
Yeah, again, I'm not here to tell anybody what to do, but like in terms of cable services and all the TV channels and stuff that you might stream or something like that, those costs really do add up, and I try to eliminate a lot of that because I have a little one, so I don't really watch too much TV outside of
SpongeBob.
Yeah, exactly. So, but again,
wait. SpongeBob and Peppa Pig.
But you'd be shocked. The amount of savings. It could be a few hundred, maybe even over $1,000 a month that you're just that you could be spending on things that you never even knew you were spending.
I know people who didn't realize they're spending $500, $600 a month on subscriptions as well as platforms for shows that they hardly even watch a show on. And you just start, like I cut the cable a few years ago, and we're very, very careful about, well, are we going to add, Paramount, are we going to add this and that, and I'm very reticent about that. So I try to keep track of that. Absolutely. You're right. It matters. Yeah. It matters.
It does. And again, I see this more often than you could imagine, but a lot of the people, a lot of people that are, again, they feel like they're behind, and they're trying to put, stash as much money away as possible in those 401k's. The next thing you know, they're having a hard time paying the monthly bills. And I will tell you, if you look at a lot of the studies that have been done, some people are actually better off just paying off debt than necessarily trying to save so much more, later on in their careers. Because, quite frankly, the most valuable dollar that you have in those plans is the first one you put in there.
Nice.
Because of all the years of compounding interest and everything like that. So if you can try to eliminate payments, eliminate expenses and some debt, then, you might actually benefit more from that versus saving more later on in your career.
Exactly. And we all know many, many people who had a lot of debt and bad credit ratings. They were young, they were stupid, and they fixed that. You just got to maintain that. It's like brushing your teeth every day. You just got to, kind of maintain that. And Andrew, I know that you're a guy that people love to work with. And folks, you can reach him at 888-690-8820. 888-690-8820. He's got a lot of challenges and a lot of great information and knowledge, too. Great to work with. By the way, is there anything else here?
That is it for the day. I appreciate you having me on. I think that some of this stuff is really relevant, especially with, again, with what's going on with inflation, what has been going on over the years with inflation, the economy, and things like that.
Oh, I know. Even though inflation,
there's a lot of talk with the oil, obviously, right now too. So
this is what people need to realize: inflation has been normalized now. It's about 2.4%, 2.7, 2.4%, but that doesn't mean it's fixed. It's still since January of 2021 and today, inflation is still 21%. Yes, it could be normalized, but we don't have a deflationary period going on, and it's not going to lower how costs have increased dramatically since January of 2021 especially. So it's a challenge, but hey, you're a good guy, and I know that you can help people if they're willing to listen. Sunday morning at 7 a.m., Dan White of Dan White & Associates presents On the Money at, I said at 7 a.m., didn't I? Yeah. Anything else we need to add to that?
That's it for the day, Rick.
All right, take care so much, Andrew. By the way, you can hear Dan White on Sunday morning at 7 on 101.7 FM, 11:50 a.m., and streaming live at WDEL.com.